Today we will talk about hypersonic weapons and their types. Hypersonic weapons refer to weapons that travel faster than Mach 5, which is about 1 miles per second, and have the capability to maneuver during the entire flight. Hypersonic weapons incorporate the speed of a ballistic missile with the maneuvering capabilities of a cruise missile. Hypersonic weapons are specifically designed for increased survivability against modern ballistic missile defense systems. These missiles are capable of delivering conventional or nuclear payloads at very high velocities over long ranges. The biggest advantages of hypersonic missiles isn't speed, it's the maneuverability at high speed. Because it flies at hypersonic speeds within the atmosphere, the air pressure in front of it forms a plasma cloud, making it almost invisible to radar systems. With plasma stealth and maneuverability at hypersonic speed, intercepting a hypersonic weapons is extremely difficult, and it cannot be intercepted by existing missile defense systems. In hypersonic missile race, Russia is way ahead of any other country. Currently, hypersonic weapons are 4 types. Number 1, Hypersonic Ballistic Missile. The hypersonic ballistic missile can be further divided into 2 types, hypersonic ballistic missiles, and hypersonic quasi-ballistic missiles. Both the missile powered by single-stage or multi-stage, solid or liquid fuel. Hypersonic ballistic missiles deploy their payloads after takeoff and reaching space. The payload can be multiple independent re-entry vehicle, hypersonic glide vehicles, or maneuverable re-entry vehicle with or without countermeasure. AGM-183 is an example of a hypersonic ballistic missile, if it flies above Mach 5. Quasi-ballistic missiles after taking off, and reaching a height of about 50 kilometers, the missile starts flying like a hypersonic cruise missile. Usually, it flies at speeds of between Mach 7 and Mach 10, and is capable to perform evasive maneuvers. You can consider hypersonic quasi-ballistic missile as a cheaper version of a hypersonic cruise missile. Shaurya and Kinzhal are examples of hypersonic quasi-ballistic missiles. Number 2, Hypervelocity projectiles. These are next-generation, low-drag, guided artillery projectiles. These projectiles cannot fire from traditional guns. It required a railgun to fire such projectiles. Hypervelocity projectiles have a speed of around Mach 6. Number 3, Hypersonic Glide Vehicle. Usually, HGVs do not have an independent propulsion system. To launch an HGV, it has to propel to a specific altitude and speed by rocket. Then it uses gravitational force and aerodynamic lift for speed and maneuver. HGVs are a payload in a ballistic missile. Usually, HGVs have a maximum speed of more than Mach 20 and fly below 100 kilometers altitude. Avangard is an example of a hypersonic glide vehicle. Number 4, Hypersonic Vehicle. It can further be divided into 2 types, hypersonic aircraft, which may be manned or unmanned, and hypersonic cruise missiles. Hypersonic aircraft take off from a runway and accelerate to hypersonic speeds, around Mach 6. It will be powered by a combination turbine engine and ramjet, an all-in-one power plant. The turbine engine accelerates the vehicle to supersonic speed before the ramjet engine accelerates to hypersonic speed. But the challenge is to design an engine to encompass the flight regimes of subsonic, supersonic, and hypersonic speeds. SR-72 is an example of unmanned hypersonic aircraft. Hypersonic Cruise Missile. These missiles are powered by a scramjet or ramjet engine. Usually, a hypersonic cruise missile has a maximum speed above Mach 6, and flies at an altitude of 20 kilometers. Among all other hypersonic weapons, the hypersonic cruise missile has better accuracy with maneuverability. BrahMos 2K is an example of a hypersonic cruise missile.